starting to lose it. Stop it, please. No bra, no panties. Stop it. No bra, no panties.
You ever watch a movie that makes you want to hug your younger self and hide your teenage kids at the same time? That's 13. This film is chaotic, heartbreaking, and somehow still feels too real. We've got peer pressure, pierced tongues, parents who aren't parenting, and a friendship so toxic it deserves its own intervention. It's messy, it's raw, and it proves one thing: letting the wrong person into your life can change everything. While watching this movie, I noticed some things, and you know I have my thoughts. But before we get to that, it's time to recap. So let's get into it. This movie has the wildest opening scene. We see our main characters, Evie and Tracy, hitting each other. Neither one of them could feel their faces because they were high on a can of gas duster. Of course, we have to see how we got here. So we rewind to when Tracy was a bit more innocent. We quickly meet her mom, Mel, her brother, Mason, and her friend, Noelle. And when they get to school, we meet Evie, who's the popular girl in high school. Back at home, we get a dose of Tracy's home life. Mel was a home dresser, divorced, and wearing many hats at the time. It kind of felt like Tracy was competing for her attention. Every time she and Mel got a quiet moment, someone else came bursting through the door needing something from Mel. Tracy wanted to read her poem to Mel, but she was thrown off when Mel's friend came into the house. Though Mel had to go to her AA meeting, she insisted that Tracy read her the poem. So she does, and it was kind of dark.
He was crippled, but only his body was correct. It's not simple, nor is it an easy matter to explain. Let's just leave it at that. And close as the holy book of lies, she covers her eyes, denying to herself what she thought happened.
That's really heavy.
This poem was concerning, and Mel could feel the heaviness of it, so she promised to talk to her later. Since Mel had to attend her meeting, she and her friend left their kid with Tracy to babysit, even though Tracy needed to work on her school project. It was clear that things like this happened all the time. Tracy needing her mom, and her mom being snatched away by whatever meeting, whatever other person needing her help, whatever other thing needing to be done. Back at school, Tracy runs into some mean girls who are part of Evie's crew. They criticize her socks, which led to her having a meltdown about her wardrobe.
Hey, what's wrong with those socks? Well, then what are they doing in the trash?
Mom, I'm not gonna wear them anymore, okay? I need new clothes.
How come?
Because I look stupid, hello?
Mel hits up a local booster friend and scores some new clothing items for Tracy for the low. Being that she was a single mom who worked too hard, she got creative with the payment, and Tracy couldn't wait to show off her new digs. It didn't take long for Evie to notice her and approve.
Call me after school. We can go shopping on Melrose.
Funny how that's all it took, and Tracy was so excited. She quickly ditched her friends after school to call Evie, but unfortunately her phone was disconnected. Evie had pranked her by giving her the wrong number, and Tracy took it kind of hard at first, but then she got the bright idea to get on a bus alone and head to the store where Evie said she'd meet her. When she gets there, Evie barely acknowledges her. She observes Evie as she shoplifts with a friend of hers. Tracy didn't want to partake in that, so she left the store. But then she sits next to this lady at the bus stop and gets another bright idea to steal her wallet. She wanted to be involved so bad. She couldn't wait to brag to Evie about what she'd done. And then she takes these girls out on a shopping spree with the money she stole. The same girls that called her a loser 2 seconds ago. When Tracy gets home, she's initially excited after she's been committing crimes with the homies, but that quickly goes away when she learns her mother's old fling, Brady, will be staying for dinner. Tracy did not care for Brady, who was an ex-addict. She did not hide this from her mom, who blissfully ignored her.
Honey, he just got back. He's only coming for dinner.
Yeah, tomorrow he's just gonna tune up your car, right?
You mind if I put this stuff in your garage?
Tracy immediately starts ignoring her old friends and introduced Evie to her mom. She got Mel to take them to the mall, and this is where things start to shift between them. Tracy and her mom used to do everything together. But now, Tracy wanted Mel to drop them off at the mall and come back later. Mel wasn't having that just yet, so she insisted on speaking with Evie's mom.
I haven't talked to Brooke yet.
Mom, please don't do this to me. This is the best day of my life. I'll kill you if you embarrass me.
The way I would have firmly told her that I didn't give a damn and call this child's mama in both their faces, because what you're not about to do is manipulate me and I'm the mama. No, I'm not one of your little friends. So Mel calls Brooke, Evie's mom, guardian, and she's told not to leave them alone at the mall, so she continues to chaperone the girls. One thing that really irked me was that Mel and Evie had just met each other, but Evie called her mom. Child, absolutely not. From the moment Evie entered Tracy's house, things shifted. Tracy ditches Noelle, her longtime friend, and heads to the park with Evie to hang out with random boys and get high. Mason finds Tracy at the park and brings her home. At this point, she's obviously high, but instead of Mel confronting her for that, she confronts her for coming home late. Tracy ignores her, so Mel went right back to living on Brad like everything was cool. Tracy had issues with dealing with big feelings. Homegirl was depressed high-key, so whenever she had these big feelings, she would cut herself. Over time, Tracy became irritable, and I'm not going to hold you, annoying as hell. Her and Mel's relationship starts to break down. Plus, Evie never leaves. Homegirl came over after school one day and never left. See, Mel didn't ask enough questions for me, honestly, because baby, where are your parents? Tracy starts speeding headfirst into the fuckery. She gets her tongue pierced without her mother's permission, continues to lie to her about what she's doing. Evie steals from one of Mel's clients. It was far too much going on. Plus, Tracy learned that Brady was living there.
3 strikes and you're out. How many times are you gonna let him fuck you over? Mom and his clothes should not be here. You promised Mason and you promised me.
No, I never promised.
Yes,
baby.
you did.
Babe.
Mel attempts to talk to Tracy later, but when she does, Tracy is on the phone with her dad. Mel attempts to tell Evie that she had to go home, but Evie lies and tells her Brooke wasn't in town.
I can't go home. Brooke had a convention in Bakersfield. She said she sent you an email.
Evie gives Mel a sob story about her mother passing away. Since Mel lost her mother when she was younger, she shows Evie some compassion and lets her stay. Turns out, Tracy's dad wasn't coming to see the kids like he said he would. So, Tracy takes this hard. Again, Tracy had trouble with big feelings, so instead of cutting herself, she allows Evie to pierce her belly button. Child, they didn't wipe the site of this piercing with alcohol, didn't burn the needle to sterilize it at least. Tracy's belly button is gonna fall off in the shower one day. I can guarantee it. Later that night, Mel came into Tracy's room to show her some jeans she'd gotten for her. Tracy wasn't impressed. Mel also encouraged Tracy to reach out to Noelle for help with her homework, but Tracy wasn't interested in that or giving her a good night smooch. But Evie was.
I love you, Mel.
Again, where are your parents? And the fact that Tracy or Mel didn't confront her about this is crazy. Tracy tried to scold her mom for coming in her room without knocking, but Mel was so thrown off by the kiss that she completely ignored her.
I don't just waltz into your room and screw around with yourself. When have you ever messed with anything that was yours? Mom!
Later that night, Evie planned to sneak out with a random boy on her own. When she left, Tracy started feeling those big feelings again. So she cuts herself. The next day, Tracy and Evie finally go to her house. This is where we finally meet Brooke. Brooke was just as unattentive as Mel, probably even more so. She leaves the girls home alone to go to work at the bar and doesn't blink twice at the beers they score from the kitchen. Later that night, the girls hang out with some more randoms. They make out with them, and it kind of turns into this weird competition. Evie does one thing, and Tracy tries to go a little further. The next day, Evie gets the bright idea to flirt with the next-door neighbor, Luke. Now, what tripped me out about Luke is that he knew these girls were too young and were on some sketchy shit. Yet and still, he invited them in anyway. But at least he had enough sense to kick them out before they all took things too far, I guess. After they left Luke's, they were both irritable. Neither Tracy nor Evie took rejection well. When Mel tries to speak to Tracy, she lashes out.
Hey, could you guys give me a hand? Mom, I'm not your fucking slave!
Child, I would have been on their ground if I ever had the thought, the inkling to talk to my mom like that. Mel tries to confront her, but there is another distraction. Her friend came by asking for a place to crash for a couple of days. When Mel goes into Tracy's room, she notices all the new things Tracy has, including these. At this point, Mel knew, after everything, all the obvious signs, that Tracy was in trouble. So she talked to Brady, and he was able to calm her down and distract her yet again. Mel, Brady, Evie, and Tracy go to the movies for what was supposed to be a fun family night, but Evie and Tracy end up sneaking off to hang with some guys who lack talent.
I feel like hope is something. I feel like hope is something. I feel like hope is something.
Triple copper. While they're out, Evie and Tracy run into Mason, who doesn't recognize Tracy at first. He didn't ask her any questions, he just let her go. Tracy ends up taking a random drink from this guy and walks with him. She's high at this point, doesn't know where she is or what's going on. By the time they get back to the theater, the movie was over and Mel and Brady knew the girls had snuck off and went somewhere else. Again, Tracy was visibly high, yet the only thing Mel was concerned about was her attitude and sneaking out of the movie theater. Reminder, Mel and Brady both have had addiction issues, yet and still, nobody is confronting this girl and her friend for using substances. I just don't understand. Mason threatens to tell Mel where Tracy was and what she was doing, as if it wasn't obvious enough.
She knows I smoke pot, Tracy. Look at your pupils. You're so fucking busted.
Again, instead of seeing how high Tracy was and how these substances are affecting her, Mel was more concerned about Tracy not wanting to eat her food. Listen, this house is too damn chaotic for me.
So you tell me what to do, you fucking cokehead. You're such a loser.
At this point, Brady was trying his best to be supportive, but this house was putting him in danger of relapsing, and it just wasn't worth it, so he left. The next day, Mel and one of her clients set up an intervention of sorts, but of course, it doesn't go well.
Your mother's phone has been disconnected.
Mel, she's not my mom. She's my cousin. My mom is a crack whore.
When Cynthia tries to get things back on track and redirect, Mason leaves, Evie walks away, and the whole thing goes downhill. So Cynthia leaves because these are not her kids, nor are they her problems to fix. Mel attempts to ask questions and talk some sense into Tracy, but babe, I feel we are a little too late for that. At this point, we need heavy reinforcements.
Tracy, I'm really starting to lose it. Stop it, please. No bra, no panties. Stop it. No bra, no panties.
Mel is at a loss, so she reaches out to Tracy's dad and basically pleads for him to take Tracy, but he hits her with 1,000,001 excuses for why he can't and won't. He makes a poor attempt to try to talk to Tracy and get her to open up, but Tracy has to compete with his phone for attention. Both of her parents were not present at all, but especially her dad. How you gonna show up out the blue, telling Mel what you're not gonna do, and then demand answers from people?
Can somebody please just tell me what is the problem? In a nutshell.
While this is happening, Brady returns.
Nice car.
Tracy tries to manipulate her mom into adopting Evie. At this point, Mel was over being manipulated by them both. This is where we go back to the opening scene. Tracy and Evie are living out their Fight Club dreams in her bedroom. This is too much at this point. Tracy had been missing school, not doing her schoolwork. Her mom and social life had been going downhill since she invited Evie into her home. But it wasn't until this moment that Mel decided to finally do something.
Can't even remember how to spell photographer.
So she visits Brooke and drops Evie off. Surprisingly, Tracy was cool with it. At this point, Tracy started to realize how much damage hanging with Evie had done to her life. Yet, she was still straddling the fence. She attempted to get back to her normal school routine, but when she saw Evie, she still yearned to be her friend.
Evie! Evie, that was hilarious, okay? Now come pick me up. It's Tracy. Eve, can you hear me?
Back at home, everyone had grown tired of Tracy's ways. Mason couldn't wait till Tracy moved with her dad, and he mentioned this in front of her. And of course, those big feelings got the best of her once again. The next day, she learns that due to her not being present and doing what she wasn't supposed to do in school, she will be held back in the 7th grade. The crazy thing was that she was shocked about being held back, as if they would let her skate through despite failing. When she arrives home, Evie and Brooke are there. Turns out, Evie somehow convinced Brooke that Tracy was the bad influence. Evie had plotted against Tracy by placing all types of stuff in her room that Brooke and Mel conveniently found with Evie's help. Brooke tries to place the blame solely on Tracy as if Evie were an innocent victim. She even revealed Tracy's cuts.
That's none of your business, you fucking Frankenstein!
Oh no, this child is my business, you little cunt.
Tracy breaks down in the kitchen, and for once, she's unable to run from those big feelings, and Mel's there to comfort her. And that's the end of the movie, and here are my final thoughts. Mel was there, but she wasn't present. Mel, for all her effort, was constantly stretched too thin. She had AA meetings, clients, random friends crashing at the house, exes with baggage, and her own emotional wounds. She loved Tracy, but she couldn't always show up for her in the ways that mattered most. And Tracy's dad, he wasn't even in the picture, except to throw money at the problem and offer excuses. It's wild how someone can be so unavailable and still try to step in like they've earned the right to ask questions. What's even more frustrating is how two people with addiction history couldn't recognize the signs that Tracy was clearly using. Her energy was different, her mood swings were loud. Even Mason picked up on the dilated pupils. Meanwhile, Mel was worried about Tracy not liking her dinner or being rude. Important? Sure, but not more important than the fact that Tracy was spiraling and self-harming under her roof, and it took Brooke, to reveal that Tracy had been cutting herself. And looking back, Mel missed key opportunities to step in. That poem Tracy wrote early on, it was heavy, dark. That should have been the moment where Mel sat her down and said, what's really going on? And if Tracy didn't want to talk to her, fine, but help should have been brought in, a counselor, a therapist, somebody. Then there was the sock moment, something so small but so telling. Tracy loved those socks until a group of mean girls made fun of her. Suddenly, she needed a whole new wardrobe. Mel could have helped her unpack why other people's opinions hit so hard, why she was willing to abandon parts of herself to fit in. That's something that doesn't just disappear with age. You carry that need for approval into relationships, jobs, life, and it's dangerous, especially when the people you're trying to impress have shown that they don't even like you. Evie became Tracy's addiction. Tracy gave up everything, her old friends, her grades, her peace of mind, all for the approval of someone who didn't even truly value her. And even after the damage was done, after she saw how toxic their friendship was, she still wanted to be around her. That's how deep the need for connection and validation ran. And that's what made it so hard for Tracy to let go. It wasn't until she allowed herself to sit with those big feelings without Evie, without self-harm, that she finally started to break free. She didn't try to numb herself. She didn't run. She just felt. And Mel, for once, was there with her, present. This movie holds a mirror up to both parents and kids. It shows what happens when presence is mistaken for parenting and how easy it is for kids to fall through cracks when no one pays attention. It's about needing to be seen, needing boundaries, and needing anyone to say, I got you. And maybe the biggest lesson of all, be careful who you let into your home. Because the moment Evie stepped through that door, chaos followed. Me personally, I would have kicked her out like Uncle Phil kicked out Jazz. Immediately. Because again, where are your parents? Anyway, that's it for this review. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. As for the next review, all I'm going to say is 1999, This movie stars some of our 90s UPN and WB childhood faves. This character couldn't tell reality from a daydream if his life depended on it. And please, I beg you, give the man his bacon. See you next time, you guys. Bye.